Hey everybody, this is Emily from Life Enrichment, and I just wanted to come in today and give you a little presentation about Broadway. So last time I was talking to some residents that wanted to hear a little bit about my background and my experience in theater. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about that, and then we'll go into the musical that I chose for today. Okay, so a little bit about me. Again, my name is Emily Dino. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Theater from Elmira College in Elmira, New York. That's a picture of me when I graduated. There I studied performance and production. I did some acting, some singing, a little bit of directing, and a lot of stage managing. I also did a lot of the creative components, so costume design, set design, props design, as well as some of the technical elements. So I did a little bit of lights and sound, and I also worked for the set construction crew for my college as well. So I've really dipped my hands in a lot of theater, and I love all components of it, so it's really exciting for me when I get to try new things and get to experience a lot of different things. I've done a lot of different plays and musicals. Most recently, I stage managed a production of Wizard of Oz. I've also done Annie, Sister Act, Singing in the Rain, what else? The play The Little Foxes, the play Boys in the Band. So I've really gotten to do a wide variety of theater, but mostly as a stage manager, which means I'm the one backstage calling all the shots, making sure the lights and the sound happen when they're supposed to happen, make sure the actors get to the stage when they need to be. That's what I really love to do. I love to really have an eye over the production as a whole, and that's what I've really gotten a lot of experience doing, so it's really fun. I brought a couple pictures with me today. So the picture on the top left is when I was in A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum as Tintinnabula. The picture on the top right, I played Velma in a production of West Side Story. And the picture on the bottom is actually when I was a director in college. I directed a one-act play, and that's me with the cast of the play that I directed, Laundry and Bourbon. So, like I said, stage managing is really my level of expertise. On the top left, you see me with one of my cast members when I stage managed Sister Act. The top right was when I stage managed a production of Annie, and that's me with our Annie. And then the bottom is actually a photo from a production I worked on for my internship when I was in college, and I stage managed a production of James and the Giant Peach, which was a lot of fun. So that'll bring us to the production that we're going to be doing today, which is Singing in the Rain. So a lot of you guys were saying that that was an musical that you were interested in. I actually stage managed it last February, so that was a really fun experience. Kind of crazy, but challenging, and I really learned a lot from doing that production. Rather than show you pictures from different live performances, I decided to bring a couple of the photos from the production that I worked on. So this photo right here is the poster from the production of Singing in the Rain that I did, and I just love it. The colors are so bright, our cast was extraordinary, and it was just such a fun experience, so I wanted to share those photos with you today. All right, Singing in the Rain. So I'm sure many of you know that Singing in the Rain is a musical based on the musical film in 1952, starring Gene Kelly and Debbie Reynolds. It premiered on West End in the UK in 1983, the stage musical version, and then on Broadway in 1985 at the Gershwin Theater. The book, meaning the script, was written by Betty Comden and Adolph Green. The script is actually almost a direct pull from the movie script. They really didn't change a lot of the dialogue at all, which is really fun. And then the music is by Nacho Herb Brown, and the lyrics are by Arthur Freed. And we'll learn a little bit more about the music later. It earned Tony nominations for Best Book of a Musical, and also a Tony nomination for Best Lead Actor in a Musical, which was Don Correa. And again, this photo right here is from the production that I worked on. So you have our Gene Kelly and our Debbie Reynolds, Kathy and Dawn. All right, so the plot of Singing in the Rain. So we have Don Lockwood, who is his best friend Cosmo Brown. They're both musicians. Cosmo Brown is a musician for Don, who is the leading man of Hollywood during the silent film era. When the first talkie film comes out, which is The Jazz Singer, it threatens the livelihood of Don and Cosmo as their silent movie stars. So they start to create their first talking film. After meeting aspiring actress Kathy Selden, whom Don falls in love with, they decide to make their production of The Dueling Cavalier into a musical comedy film called The Dancing Cavalier. However, Don's leading lady, Lena Lamont, who's only been a silent actress up to this point, does not really have the most appealing voice and is not a talented singer. So Kathy decides that she will lip sing for Lena during the movie. But when Lena finds out about this, she tries to sabotage Kathy's career. But at the end of the musical, we see that after the film premieres, the audience wants Lena to sing, and because she can't, Kathy gets her moment in the spotlight, and everyone discovers that Kathy is the talented one, and we have our big romantic moment between Don and Kathy. So this production right here, one of the most notable songs in the musical, Good Morning, which is towards the end of the first act. This production is from an Australian professional production. So again, it's not from the movie, but I decided to do a live version of it. So I'll get this up.
Listen, if we can pull this off, this day will go down in history for me. March 23rd.
No, your historic day is not the 23rd, it's the 24th.
What do you mean the 24th?
It's 2:30 already. It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning. Good morning to you.
When the band began to play, the stars were shining bright.
Now the milkman's on his way. It's too late to say goodnight. So good morning. Good morning. Sunbeams will soon shine through. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And you, good morning. Good morning. We gabbed the whole night through. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Nothing could be better than to be in Louisiana.
In the morning, it's great to stay up late. Good morning. Good morning to you.
I'd be Mississippi if we was in Mississippi.
When we left the movie show, the future wasn't bright. But came the dawn, the show goes on, and I wanna say goodnight.
Well, say good morning.
Good morning.
Rainbows are shining through.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Bonjour.
Monsieur.
Buenos dias.
Muchas frias.
Buongiorno.
I get going home.
Good morning.
British Morgan.
Good morning to you.
of the big dance numbers, which is one of the things I really love about this musical is all the dancing, especially obviously Gene Kelly, the tap dancing, and it's just really exciting and fun, and it's a really great musical. What's interesting about that production was that they did it outside, when in the movie and usually in the stage musical, they're inside, I believe, Kathy's apartment, and instead of the park bench that they tip over, it's the couch in her living room. So I think that's interesting that they kind of changed that element of it. So here I decided to list a couple of the notable songs from Singing in the Rain. There's a lot of different songs from the movie and the musical. Some of them were included in the West End production, but weren't in the Broadway production. And actually, there were some original songs that were written for the musical for the UK production that didn't make it into the Broadway production. But most of the songs are the same. So we have Fit as a Fiddle, which is one of the big opening numbers between Don and Cosmo as they're reliving their vaudeville days. Then we have Make 'Em Laugh, which is one of Cosmo's big numbers. You Are My Lucky Star, that's Kathy's big ballad number. And it's also one of the finale numbers when Don and Kathy reunite at the end. We have Good Morning, which we just saw, obviously Singing in the Rain, which is a big one, and Broadway Rhythm, which is a really fun big musical number. This picture right here is from the big Hollywood premiere that happens at the beginning of the musical. And again, this is from the production that I was involved in. I just really love the photos that we got. We had a great photographer, and we had really bright colors, and the stage looked great, and it was a really fun production to do. The next video that I wanted to show is actually not from a live production or from the movie. It's actually from the television show Glee. And the reason why I chose this clip today is just because I wanted to show how influential that this movie has become. A lot of these songs are referenced in a variety of different television and films, and I just wanted to show how influential this musical is, and how people can take different elements from it and incorporate it into their own works and really bring that genre of musical to life. So this is Make 'Em Laugh from Glee. This is Matthew Morrison, who is a big Broadway star. He was in Hairspray, among other things, Finding Neverland. So this is a really fun number, and I think that he does it really well.
Mr. Shue, so glad you're better. We can't win sectionals without you.
Mike, I know. Now, I'm gonna run through a number here, and after a bit, I want you to join in. Got it? Got it. All right.
Though the world is full of a number of things, I'm sure we should all be as happy as... But are we? No. Definitely no. Positively no. Decidedly no.
Short people have long faces, and long people have short faces. Big people have little humor, and little people have no humor at all.
And in the words of that immortal god, Samuel J. Snodgrass, as he is about to be led to the guillotine, make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. Don't you know everyone wants to laugh? My dad said be an actor, my son, but be a comical one. They'll be standing in lines for those old honky-tonk monkey shines. Now you can study Shakespeare and be quite elite, and you can charm the critics and have nothing to eat. Just slip on a banana peel, the world's at your feet. Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. Make 'em laugh. Don't you know everyone wants to laugh? My grandpa said go out and tell him a joke, but give it plenty of hope. Make 'em roar, make 'em scream. Take a ball, cut a wall, split a seam. You start up by pretending you're a dance with grace. You wiggle till they're giggling all over the place, and then you get a great big custard pie in the face. Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh.
fun use of prop comedy and physical comedy. A lot of the things that they did in that number are used in most productions of Singing in the Rain. The spinning around in a circle laughing, the jump out the side and like the crawling back, the what was the other thing, the board on between his legs. And again, that's it's a lot of fun when you can like play with that kind of stuff, and I think they did it really well, so that's why I wanted to show that clip instead of a live production of it, something a little bit different. All right, so another thing I wanted to talk about was kind of like the creation of Singing in the Rain, which I found really interesting. So Arthur Freed, who I said earlier was the person who wrote the lyrics, he was an MGM producer, and he decided that he wanted to create a film based on the back catalog of the songs he had previously written with Nacho Herb Brown for different movies before this movie. So they had worked together previously, creating songs for different movies, and he decided he wanted to create a story that would kind of combine them. So he asked Comden and Green to create a story connecting these songs. And they actually had thought of a couple different ideas. So they had the idea of a movie premiere, they had the idea of a Hollywood magazine interviewing an actress, and they had the idea of a star getting a girl and a star losing a girl. And they were struggling with these ideas. They weren't sure how they were going to connect them. They weren't sure how they were going to choose, and it was actually Comden's husband who suggested that they kind of combine all of these stories. So that's something we see all in the beginning of the musical. We have the big Hollywood premiere. You kind of establish the characters of Don and Lena and their success. You have the interview at the beginning of the film as the premiere is happening, and then you have the whole star gets girl, star loses girl. You have that struggle between Lena and Don, because Lena believes that their on-screen romance is real, whereas Don can't stand Lena, and neither can really anybody else. So Comden and Green, they were inspired by this transitional period that had just happened from silent films to talkies, so they wanted to kind of write a musical comedy about that transitional period. So Tommy Steele, he was a director and actor in the UK. He was inspired by this musical. He wanted to bring it to life on stage. So he decided he was the one that first brought it to the stage in UK in 1983. And he starred as Don Lockwood. So when this production first came out, the stage production, they not only used all the songs from the original film, but they kind of embellished it with songs from other artists as well, including George and Ira Gershwin and Cole Porter, along with some others. So this photo right here, again, is from the production that I worked on. It's the big closing number of Singing in the Rain. Our director decided he wanted everyone to be in the typical raincoats with big umbrellas, and it was a really fun, colorful number. So my experience with the rain on stage is actually pretty interesting. So the theater that we were in is this big, gorgeous theater, and they had this pipe that they had worked through the ceiling of the theater that could, had holes drilled into it so that it could rain. And they had built this large platform with 2 light posts at the end to kind of give you that outdoors feel. And we would wheel that on stage, and it would rain on it, and then there was a gutter that would drain the water out. Once we were getting into our dress rehearsal period, we decided we were going to try it with the rain. So we bring out the platform, we get everything set up. I go backstage, I turn the water on for the rain, and Don does his big number, and it's great, and it turns out really nice. And then when it was done, we realized that whoever built this platform was not necessarily all that experienced in set construction, I would say. And the gutter was about this big for a platform that was probably about 12 feet wide. So you can imagine a gutter this big is not going to collect enough water to drain it all out efficiently. So we had a completely flooded stage. So even though we had only done the first act that day, we decided to send everyone home from rehearsal, and I, as stage manager, as well as a couple of my friends that stuck around, had to basically drain the stage, clean it all up. We had a shop vac, we had mops, we had rags. We were able to get most of the moisture up, but rest assured we could not continue rehearsal for that day. It would just not have been safe for the actors. So we had to wait a little bit for the stage to really dry before we could do it again. And I made sure to consult with the person who was in charge with set construction so that they could build a better gutter. And they actually ended up taking one of the rain gutters that you would have on your house, and they attached that along the back, and it was the full length of the platform with a long tube connected to it that we would drain outside. So we would bring the platform out onto the stage, we would take this long tube, we would connect it to the end of the gutter, bring the tail end of it, feed it out the side stage door outside. And then once that was all set up, we could turn on the rain and start the number. And I'll tell you, the cleanup time was very, very quick after that. It was only about a 5-minute cleanup, which was definitely great when you only have a 15-minute intermission in between acts. So that was quite a challenging experience for me. But nevertheless, I learned a lot from it, and I really had a lot of fun doing this production. We had a really great cast, and our Don and our Kathy were just phenomenal. They were very, very talented actors. It was really great working with them. So yeah, that was just one of the crazy antics that has gone on, stage managers that you have to deal with, but that's kind of what makes it fun. That's kind of the thrill of live theater, is anything can happen at any time, but it really challenges you to step up to the plate, make decisions in the moment that can, you know, help the show go on, because after all, the show must go on no matter what. So again, it was just such a fun production to work on, and hopefully I can talk a little bit more about different experiences that I've had with different shows. Again, I've done a lot of different ones: Wizard of Oz, Annie, Sister Act, what else? West Side Story, lots of different productions, and they all have their challenges, but they all have their fun moments as well. So thank you a lot for letting me come and talk to you guys. So the last clip I wanted to show you, I don't think I could properly present this without showing our big title number. When I was doing my research for this, I was trying to find, a Don that would do this number justice. And I was looking at different live productions, and I was looking at different televised or influenced by productions, but really no one does it better than the man himself. So the clip that I'm going to show you is from the movie Singing in the Rain, starring Gene Kelly. I just think that he is just so phenomenal, and I don't think anybody else could really do justice to the role. So I will be showing you the one from the movie, but it's a classic, so let's do it.
Good night, Kathy. See you tomorrow.
Good night, darling. Take care of that throat. You're a big singing star now, remember? This California dew was just a little heavier than usual tonight.
Really? From where I stand, the sun is shining all over the place.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love. Let the stormy clouds chase everyone from the place. Come on with the rain, I've a smile on my face. I walk down the lane with a happy
singing in the rain, dancing in the rain. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm happy again. I'm singing and dancing in the rain. Dancing and singing in the rain.
Oh, he's just so incredible. Gosh, I love that song so much. An interesting thing I learned actually was that when they first were thinking of creating this film, they had Gene Kelly in mind, but at the time he was working on An American in Paris and very involved in that production. So they were thinking of other people for the role. However, because of the delays in creating the script for this film, by the time they actually got around to making it, he was available, so they were able to snag him. And honestly, I don't think it would have been the same without him. He is just so talented. His dance talent is just unmatched. So yes, that was Singing in the Rain. Okay. Thank you so much for listening and letting me come and talk about what I love the most. So hopefully I can do some more. If anyone has any suggestions, feel free to let me know, or Cece know, or again, I don't know what musicals y'all have learned about in the past. So if you want to learn about something that you haven't done before but you really like, or if you want me to maybe introduce you to something that you've never heard of before, I'm more than happy to do that. So again, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.